Hello, welcome to the YouTube channel. My name is Lucas. I'm here with Gorvia, the boss of this channel, and we're here to review the Asian Cup final. Yes, I said the boss of this channel. He's finally here. And
Yep.
we're here to review the Asian Cup final between Sri Lanka and India. And as much as I'd love to have an hour show dissecting this game, unfortunately, for Sri Lanka, it was a very poor batting performance, to say the least. Bowled all out for 50. India chased that down with no wickets. With a full wickets remaining in 6.1 overs. And Guruvia, just a complete mess by Sri Lanka due to Mohammad Siraj, who was absolutely fantastic in this match. Just did nothing wrong. Everything was turned to gold for Mohammad Siraj. This game was over before it even basically begun.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, viewers, all in India. And yeah, the match has finished too early. I think we have obviously thought that the match gonna be competitive because Sri Lanka were playing in the finals. They had defeated Pakistan, I think, in the Super 4 match, but the match got one-sided and it got over before it began.
Well, a lot of criticism will probably be under the pitch, but from what I saw, the pitch was fine. You know, India made this target within 6.1 overs. So it had nothing to do with the pitch, if anyone's going to say that. It was just one of these freak incidents by Mohammad Siraj. You know, we saw this in Australia with India for 36. You know, that was a freak accident. What happened the week after or the match after that? They won the series. You know, this is just a once-off freak incident. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate that this was a final that this has happened in. Nobody wants to see that. Not in any game, let alone a final. You know, an ICC final. So that's very unfortunate. But you know, Siraj deserves full credit for this. Bowled magnificently, bowled line and length. And like I said, it was just one of these freak accidents. You know, this will probably never happen again. I doubt if you played this match again tomorrow, they would not get bowled out for 50. That's guaranteed. That would not happen. But unfortunately for probably I think the only people that'd be happy is the BCCI that they won a trophy. And Virat Kohli. But unfortunately for the rest of the neutral viewer, it's very unfortunate that this has happened. And I think we just need to remain a bit calm. I've seen a lot of reaction about the pitch. Pitch is fine. Don't complain about the pitch. Just a freak accident, unfortunately. Guruvia?
Yeah, you were talking about the pitches, right?
Yeah.
If you're following ODI cricket for a long period of time, you know the ball gonna swing for the first 8 or 10 overs max.
Yeah.
And after that, batting becomes very easier. Obviously in the afternoon game, the wickets remains flat throughout the 50 overs. If you're playing in Sri Lanka, because I have been following obviously this Asia Cup for right from the start, the pitches becomes little difficult in the second inning. Obviously, the ball started to grip, the spinners comes into play, and obviously they take a lot of wicket in the second innings. But if you see today's match, obviously the ball was obviously swinging in the first 5 to 8 overs. But if you're looking at the shot of some of the Sri Lanka player, it was quite bizarre. Obviously, some of they were obviously a loose shot. I think if I was seeing the Mohammad Siraj over, obviously I'm talking about the spell, the ball to Shanaka and the ball to obviously the Sri Lankan captain, I'm just forgetting his name. The ball to the Sri Lankan captain that got a name on his obviously, and after that, all the wicket that Sri Lanka got obviously, it was quite bizarre. It was quite sloppy, and some of the shot was was quite a loose shot.
I think the captain you're mentioning is Shanaka.
Shanaka. Shanaka.
Yeah.
It was quite a rip-off of a ball.
Well, as we know with the white ball, in ODI cricket, there's actually 2 brand new white balls that they use on each end.
Yes.
But again, that's really not an excuse. That's the 2 new balls at each end has been in play for a while now, for a little time. So that's really no excuse. As much as we'd like to make an excuse for that kind of performance, there really is none. As you said, shot selection was very poor. You would think when you lose a couple of wickets that you wouldn't play that kind of way. You'd go a little bit defensive, try to get as much runs on the board as you possibly can. The only batsman that found it pretty easy was Mendes. So
and he also got out while slogging. You can understand this. He also got out once he was settled. I think we thought that he will obviously take this score to 100 or even 150 to make a little bit of fighting score to this Asia Cup final. But he also got out. I think he slogged 1 ball earlier of the Mohammad Siraj that got obviously age and went on to 4. And after that, he got a ball coming in and he got completely out.
Yeah, regardless of what ball it is, white, pink, or red, whatever, you still have to move your feet when the ball's swinging. And I think there were too many times where Sri Lankan players were not using their feet; they were standing still. Mendes was a fun example. Hitting a ball outside, off no footwork, and just an absolute mess from Sri Lanka. In a way, I feel a bit bad for the head coach, Chris Silverwood.
He was earlier coach of the England team, right?
Yeah, he's seen this before by bowling. He saw this with Scott Boland when he was the coach of England, and now he's seen it with Mohammad Siraj. So he can't really escape that, can he? So that's probably not ideal for Chris Silverwood. But it's just, again, one of these freak accidents that won't happen again. Like I said, these two, you can play tomorrow with this team. You can have an ODI series with this team. That won't happen again. It'll be much more competitive, but unfortunately, you don't get a second chance. It's a final. India are up for it. India's history in this tournament is very strong. And I just don't think Sri Lanka, they had a very good win against Pakistan in the semi-final, with a world-class bowling attack, with Naseem Shah, Shaheen Afridi, and they got over the line. But today they were just it seemed to me their attitude wasn't very good. I think we made the final. Probably no one was expecting this. Everyone was probably expecting Pakistan in India final, and I don't think people gave Sri Lanka much of a chance. And I think that probably got overwhelmed them. They probably thought, well, we've made the final. That's an achievement within itself, and they've completely forgot about, well, you gotta win that final. You just can't play in it, and just an abomination to their cricket team, an embarrassment, really. I don't care what format it is, whether it's T20, ODI, County, Sheffield Shield. You get bowled out for 50, freak incident or not. It's a bit of embarrassment. But having said that, they're in a rebuild phase. They will learn from this. I know their coach will learn from this. And let's hope they can rebound from the World Cup, because it is a very short turnaround. The World Cup is next month. Sri Lanka don't get any ODI series.
And I don't think Sri Lanka is playing too many games between the World Cup and in the Asia Cup, because India will be playing to the Australia right after this. And currently, Australia is also playing with the South Africa. I think there is a series decider which is going on South Africa. So there is I don't think Sri Lanka is playing too much of a cricket in between this. But India will get a handy games between World Cups, and obviously they will be playing some practice game also in World Cup. But talking about Sri Lanka, talking about Pakistan team, they don't have too much of a game before leading to the World Cups.
No, that's in a way that's not ideal within itself. Just a little shout out to Rishabh, who's put a comment in. Thank you, Rishabh. Keep watching and subscribe, please. It's not ideal when you don't have when you put in a performance like that. It's not ideal that you don't have a match after that. Just to put that at the back of your head. To remove it from the back of your head without thinking. Unfortunately for Sri Lanka, that's going to probably carry them until their next game. Warm-up game's a warm-up game. Let's say if Netherlands bet India in a warm-up game, I don't think anyone would care. I don't think I would care if they bet Australia. It's a warm-up game. But it's not ideal. This is it's hard not to laugh, but in a way it's terrible for Sri Lanka because no one saw this coming. We thought we were going to have a good Asian Cup final. Asian Cup finals have been competitive in the past anyway, very competitive. Mind you, India have won most of them, but it's just one of these things where if you're Sri Lanka, damn it, you need to get that out of your head because you cannot carry that mentality into a World Cup because we see with West Indies it can go very south very, very quickly, and your tournament can be over before it actually begins. Unfortunate, like I said, it's a final, but Sri Lanka need to bounce back. Maybe they can get some warm-up games. Again, not ideal, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And India, well-deserved. They played a very faultless Asian Cup in general. Bet Pakistan in that rain-delayed match where they had to come back the next day. So won their semi. So India fully deserved this. There's no question about that. They 100% deserved to win this Asian Cup. And
yes, I think they have almost ticked all the boxes. I think there is only one concern. Will they play Shardul Thakur at number 8 or will they consider a proper bowler with the name of Mohammad Shami? There is the only thing. I think this is the only concern moving towards obviously Australian series or leading to the World Cup also. This is the only concern. Otherwise, all the boxes are ticked. I think there is one more concern. Who will bat at the middle order? If Shreyas Iyer is fit, will he bat at the 4 number or will he bat at number 5? Will team management will get the backing of Ishan Kishan because obviously he's batting in the middle order. He's a keeper also. He gives you the opportunity to. He's a proper opener also. Obviously, you have seen that he has opened today. Earlier also, I think he plays. He opens most of the time to the franchise cricket also. So there is only two confusion. Will India bat deep and play Shardul Thakur as a third seamer, or will they obviously if the condition are different, if the pitches are spinner friendly, which obviously you expected in India, obviously they will add Akshar Patel as a third spinner. But looking at the Shreyas Iyer fitness, there is also concern. Will he be in the playing 11 or will he be? Will India back Ishan Kishan? This is the concern for Team India moving ahead. Who will you be talking about? Lucas, who will you fit in middle order? Will you go ahead with Ishan Kishan or will you play? Will you play obviously Ishan Kishan in the middle order?
Well, let's be clear. We can't judge India's batting performance on this game. Let's be clear.
No, I'm talking about generally.
Unless the only way you can judge this chase is if they had a collapse themselves. So we can't take anything out of that, unfortunately. But as a general, as you said before, that there is a series in India with Australia, and it's a very long series. It's not like it's a 2 ODI or 3 DI. It is a long series. So there's plenty of room to experiment with this. Krishna looks like he was the content with him opening. But as I said, he looked good, but they're only chasing 50. But having said that, I think Shardul is a very decent all-rounder in this team.
Yes,
we know what he can. We know what he can do in the Test arena. I know personally what he can do in the Test arena. So I think he's a very key player. I'm not sure you need a third spinner. As much as this sound crazy, I don't think you need a third spinner in India when it comes to ODIs, because the pitch. We have to remember the pitch will not break up as much as it will in a Test match. I think spin will take a part, of course, but I don't think there'll be deterioration. Like in Test matches. So I as much as I love Patel, see Patel's another one. Patel's hitting He can easily be in the middle order himself based on his hitting. But at the same time, you don't really want to pick spinners because of reputation of pitchers. I honestly don't think Australia. They said pre-series, they're in a very valuable series against South Africa right now. They said that they might need 3 spinners in India. I think that's a mistake. I think that's a huge mistake. One, because Australia don't have 3 ODI spinners. It's really only Adam Zampa. Swepson is not in this squad. And Travis Head, big injury concern, massive injury concern with Travis Head, who would be their part-time spinner.
Yes, he bowls in the middle over also. He gives you some overs.
Yeah. So in ODI cricket, he's not really a part-timer. He does bowl. So they've just lost him. So who the hell is going to be the second spinner? So you're thinking about playing 3 spinners. Who's going to be the second spinner? Forget about the third spinner. Who's going to be the second? They've got none. They've got no in that squad. They've got no second spinner. Unless
they have a lot of handy out and out seam bowler like Marcus Stoinis, Cameron Green, Mitchell Marsh himself. But if you're talking about the spinner, they lack. I think Australia lacking the spinners. I think Adam, I don't know how much confident he is right now, because see, if you look at him, he got hammered away recently. I think in the 4th ODI, where he got obviously hammered away for 104 runs or 113, whatever it is. But
again today,
tough players against Australia. Yeah, today also. So Australia need to cover up the spin bowling, because the later half of the World Cup, the pitches will get slowed down, and you need a proper spinner in the 50 overs team, because you can understand you need you need bowlers, you need spinners who can take a control in the middle overs and who can take the wickets also. And Australia don't have right now, except Zampa. And I just wanted to ask one more thing about Australian team management. Have they moved ahead from Ashton Agar?
Sorry, what was that?
I'm talking about Ashton Agar. Have they moved away from that?
Yeah. I think they've moved on from Ashton Agar. Ashton Agar is a very strange case. The problem with Ashton Agar, he doesn't, outside of T20, the Big Bash, he doesn't play domestic cricket. So it's very hard for him to be picked.
Just to interrupt you, Lucas, I think if you're talking about the domestic cricket, I'm not talking about that he needs to be part of the Test cricket. I'm just talking about the 50 over. Earlier, he was a part of ODI team. I think the last time Australia played in ODI series in India, he was a part of that team also. And suddenly he's faded away. I don't know the reason, because he was quite a handy bowler at the middle of the overs, and he has performed well also in the Australian team whenever he's played, especially against India also.
Yeah, I just think they've just dropped him off there. He's not in their plans, mainly because he's just not playing enough domestic cricket. So you're not going to. Australia have made it clear that they don't want to pick T20 guys, players that play just in the Big Bash in the World Cup. They're done with that. So I just think, unfortunately for Ashton Agar, it's very tough to get into the team when you're not playing domestic cricket.
Or is it about the combination of the team that he doesn't fit in? Because you guys have a lot of all-rounders who obviously bats well and obviously bowl some overs also in the middle of it. I'm talking about Cameron Green. I'm talking about Mitchell Marsh. I'm talking about Marcus Stoinis and Glenn Maxwell. Are Australia looking for a Glenn Maxwell option that he provides you the spin bowling also? Obviously he's a dangerous batsman also. So that's why they have moved away from Ashton Agar.
Well, if you're gonna rely on Glenn Maxwell's spin, then you're in trouble. Let's be honest. I don't know an definitive answer why they've dropped Ashton Agar. So you can make an argument for Trepson as well. Swepson played a lot of white ball cricket and did for Australia. Did for in the Bangladesh series last year. But they've just dropped. They're just happy with Zampa, who has not had the best series in this current series in South Africa. In fact, it's been very poor. and again, including today. So I just think they're just, for me, I think it's just reputation. I don't think there's any theory. I just think, well, Zampa's been our main guy for a lot of years. We've got to pick him. Well, Ashton Agar's been in and out, even at white ball cricket. So they need a second spinner. Maxwell is not a spinner. He's not a part-timer. He's not even a part-timer. No, they got Steve Smith. You really want to use Steve Smith?
You can't bank on Steve Smith to bowl some overs in the ODI cricket because people will be catching on him.
And you've got Labuschagne.
Yes.
You're not going to use Labuschagne either. Tim David bowled today. That's how bad it was. Tim David bowled today because Adam Zampa was getting whacked. So they said they need 3 spinners. Well, I'm struggling to find 2. Now, what they can do is they can add someone to that squad. Maybe they will add a spinner. I don't see Nathan Lyon being that spinner. He's still recovering from that calf strain.
I think Australian management has already moved on from Nathan Lyon as a white ball bowler.
Yeah. So he's now focusing on. He's now a test player. So they do have 1 spot left. They can add a player. I think they will add probably a Swepson. I won't be surprised. But I'm really struggling to see how they're going to have 3 spinners in one team because, with all due respect, Mitchell Marsh, Marcus Stoinis, Cameron Green, they're the same bowler. They're the same 135. Everyone raves on about Cameron Green's pace. He hasn't bowled 140. He doesn't bowl 140. I don't know where that ever came from. Even when he was bowling against India, he wasn't bowling 140. I don't know where that came from. I have no idea. But the point is, Mitch Marsh, Stoinis, and Cameron Green are the same bowler. And in these slower pitches, if you're going to bowl 130 Ks, that is not going to be good enough. You're going to get you're going to be hammered by players like Rohit Sharma at the top of the order or the opener, Virat Kohli, and other players, not just for India, but other players that are really attacking on slow pitches. So I don't know what they're thinking. Cummins is not a great ODI bowler if you look at his stats. Mitchell Starc is the best ODI bowler in this team by a mile. Cummins is not a good ODI bowler. Hazelwood, average. Now, before in past World Cups, they have used a B team string attack. So like a Cordon, if you can remember in the past, Nathan Cordon-Niall, Ellis, bowlers like that. And then, as we know, in the World Cup, when they won the World Cup, they used their test attack. This is a T20 World Cup. They used their test attack. They had enough of it. They got lucky in that World Cup. Their World Cup, their test attack are not T20 bowlers, and they got very lucky in that World Cup final. Very, very lucky. And they did that again, if you remember, the next year, and it didn't work. So. And again, they've gone back to their test attack. Hazelwood will play, Starc will play, Cummins will play. He's going to be the captain of this squad. And Zampa's going to be the spinner. But you need 2 spinners in India at least. I don't think you need 3. But I don't know where the second spinner's coming from. Because if you're going to bowl Steve Smith and Maxwell, well, you might as well not even go out there play because they're going to leak runs badly. With all due respect to Steve Smith's bowling and Maxwell. Without a Travis Head who can bring control, if I'm an opposition team, if they're even gonna bowl, I'm gonna target them because they're not gonna hurt you. With all respect to Steve Smith's spin and Glenn Maxwell, they're not gonna take 3-4 wickets like a Patel would. But Patel is gonna be your third spinner. He can easily take 5 wickets in that game. Easily. Steve Smith and Maxwell are not even probably going to combine for 1 wicket if they're lucky. So they've got no choice but to bring back Swepson. No choice. No choice whatsoever. And if they don't, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I can't really explain that.
just wanted to ask one more thing about Australian team management. How bad is Travis Head injury? Because he's your opening batsman, right?
Yeah,
And he's a top. He gives you some overs also of spin, which
yeah,
Australia lacks during this
yeah,
period of time.
yeah.
So how bad is is Travis Head injury, and will he able to recover during World Cup period of time?
He well, Travis has officially fractured his hand. Um, it's he will not be 100% in that tournament. Even if somehow Australia make it to the final, he will not be 100%. So that's gone. So 100% Travis Head will not be at this World Cup. I think he might miss a couple of group stages. They might bring him back in the next round quarters, but he will not be 100%. And the way that Travis Head hits, we know he's an attacking player. And if you've got an injury, especially on your hands, which you're required to make a lot of hard hitting shots, that's going to affect his batting very badly. So he might miss the first couple of games. They might bring him back in the next round if they qualify for next round and the quarterfinals. But 100% Travis Head will not be at this World Cup, regardless of how far they make it. Reason being is because even if you take time to the fractured hand heals, it takes more time to put strength into that hand. So unfortunately, it's a huge blow because, like I said, it's not just Travis Head's batting; it's his part-time bowling as well. He's more than a part-time in ODI in white ball cricket. He does bowl a lot of overs in white ball cricket compared to red ball cricket. So it's a huge blow for Australia. And if they're going to use three seam bowlers, Stoinis, Green, Marsh, I can't see them winning the World Cup. I really can't. I can't see them winning the series against India, let alone winning the World Cup.
But the main question is, if Travis Head will not make up to the World Cup, then who will open? Will Mitchell Marsh would open himself?
Well, David Warner set in stone. He'll open regardless, so we can say he's number one. I think the next reliable option would be Mitch Marsh. He's opened before at white ball cricket. He does open in Perth Scorchers for his domestic BBL team at times. So the ideal is, I think, Warner 1 and Mitch Marsh 2. Not ideal because they're both like bat on ball. They don't like to be bobbed down. And we have to remember the white cricket ball in the World Cup in India will not be an SG ball. It will be a kookaburra ball that swings. And with batsmen that like to put bat on ball, if it does swing and if there's some kind of dew on the pitch, you can be nicked off in the slips. So it's not really the ideal partnership when both players like hitting bat on ball, especially with that swinging ball. But unfortunately, they've really got nowhere else to look. Travis Head's the same thing. Travis Head likes bat on ball. So there is vulnerable to that opening attack. Now, Warner, we know what Warner's like in ODI cricket, can blast an attack, but we have to remember this is a white kookaburra ball that will swing. It's not an SG India ball; it's a white kookaburra ball. So there is vulnerability at the top order. The other option is Labuschagne. I don't see Labuschagne opening. He'll play in this World Cup. There's no doubt about that. He'll play in this World Cup. He's made back-to-back hundreds in the South Africa series. He'll play in this World Cup. That's for sure. Now, whether he bats at 3 or 4, different story. I like Smith at 3 in IDI cricket. Well, personally, I don't like Steve Smith playing IDI cricket at all. Mainly because he's at his stage where he's probably got 2-3 years left.
This might be his last World Cup also.
No, this will definitely, well, his 50 over World Cup, this will definitely be his last 50 over World Cup. He did say he wants to get back to England for the Ashes series in England in 4 years' time. But this is a conversation for another day. So to answer your legit question, Mitch Marsh and David Warner will most likely be the openers in the India series and most likely the openers in the World Cup.
You might be finding very silly after hearing this, but if you take my point of view, if Travis Head doesn't get fit on time, I yeah, as of now.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. What did you say? Sorry.
I just said if Travis Head doesn't get fit on time during the World Cup period of time, I might be picking Usman Khwaja as of now.
Yeah, that's not the worst idea, but the problem is Usman Khawaja plays no white ball cricket ever, hardly ever, not even at domestic level. Khawaja last 2 years when he has played ODI cricket, he actually looks pretty good. He's made runs as an ODI cricketer, but he hardly ever plays it. With all due respect, Labuschagne hardly ever plays it. So I don't see Usman Khawaja coming in, unfortunately, because I think Australia are fixed on their squad. What you'll see in India is very close to what they'll see in the World Cup. Now you might see tweaks. Cameron Green might bat fifth. One game he might open as a trial in the next game, but what you'll see in this Indian series is pretty close to their World Cup squad. I wouldn't be against Khawaja opening, but I think he just does not play. He plays hardly any white ball. He's played hardly any white ball cricket last 12 months. So I don't think they're going to take anyone outside the Indian series and bring him back to the World Cup under no game experience whatsoever or no warm up, unfortunately.
Yeah, no issues. I think we need to wrap up this show now because I think we were about to discuss about this Asia Cup final, but nothing happened in this final. It was a totally one-sided affair, and we went on to discuss about Australia and South Africa series and discuss more about Australian team combination during this obviously much awaited India versus Australia series. So till now, thank you guys. Do like the channel, do subscribe it, and hit the bell icon. You guys can follow us on Twitter also. It's Gauravan on obviously in Twitter, and Lucas obviously will gonna tell his Twitter ID. So just go and show some more love and affection towards the channel. Thank you. Till now, we will meet during this India Australia series ODI time. Thank you, guys.